Are you working as a creative professional or an entrepreneur within the cultural and creative industries, and you're looking for ways to future-proof your impact? It could be that you are looking for ways to digitize, grow, and scale your business, your brand, but also your creative work. Then you've come to the right place. I'm Sofie Marin. I'm founder and CEO of Arts Dynamics, and I host these weekly sessions with leading creators and thought leaders and change makers in our industry to figure out what they're doing to survive and thrive, and sometimes also pivot, because that's needed today when things are changing so rapidly. And before we move into the session of today, I would highly recommend that you look into previous guests. Please help us to click like and subscribe and reshare what you're seeing, so that we can invite more creators into this conversation. This is all about doing this together, creating a safe space for connection and to give you a seat at the table to connect with these change makers directly, like we're doing right now. So you're able to ask questions for those of you who are with us live, and also follow up afterwards on our Circle platform, where we're now opening up a community. So today I am very, very honored to have a guest, which, again, those of you who are watching this live with me now can see. She is a Belarusian-Swedish visual artist, and I met her a few years ago, and I was blown away by the way she not only created her artwork and the way she was engaged with her local community, but also where she was able to take that to an international level and make a huge impact through her work. But it's also the way she is as a creative entrepreneur herself. She's brilliant at branding, one of the best I know when it comes to branding and to packaging and to promotion of her work. So as a business woman and a creative business owner, I have a feeling that we will get a golden nugget or two as well. I would love to hear her take on that. She's received several nominations and also awards, including the Nelson Mandela prize in 2023 and 24. And there's so much I could share, but I think the best thing would be to just let her speak for herself. So welcome to the stage, Ludmila Christeseva.
Thank you, Sofie, and I'm very proud to be here and share my artistic research with you. I'm an artist and curator. It's been a while ago when I painted last. I think today it's very important to let other people to create and explore the transformative power of art.
Yeah. And when you and I spoke about this session today, we talked about actually maybe doing it live, even not me here and you there, but actually meeting up physically. And who knows, that might happen in the future too. But can you please share, because we can see something behind you. Would you like to share what we're seeing?
Yes, today it's very important to meet people and to share this possibility of creating together. And the project you have behind me, it's Weaving a Band for Peace. This project I began together with Ukrainian refugees, mothers and children, and together we weave the Swedish flag. The initiative, the idea is to thanks Swedish people for their hospitality, for possibilities Ukrainian families get in this country. And this journey is not the easiest one. That's why arts has been very vital for integration, for facilitation of the integration process, for coping with the trauma, but also make stories and voices heard. So I'm very proud to curate this project, represent this project, make it visible, send a press release to different conferences and big fairs, tell that I represent amazing mothers and children, and they have so many talents we can explore together. And I think it's very, very impressive how people can actually get stronger and get together towards hope and optimism.
Yeah, I agree. And it's called camouflage netting, isn't it? The technique that you're using.
Yeah, exactly. So the initial technique is camouflage netting, and we have participants that have been weaving camouflage nets since 2014. Today, this youth, they are 20 years old, and my main concern, what is their future, and then what is future of our own children.
I remember, I don't know if I've told you this, but I was hosting a space climate tech conference in Sweden in 23 with the Fuglesang Space Center. I'm a member of the board. And the other partner of that is Rotary. So we went to visit their conference to talk about this upcoming conference. And there in the foyer were women, and they were doing this. They had this huge Swedish flag, and we were able to participate in that, which I obviously did. And I remember the feeling of, it was very unique and very special to have this opportunity to come together, to feel that you could do something to contribute, even though it's in a very, very small way, but it just shows solidarity. And the conversations that we had when we were there and the stories that they shared, they were so powerful. So I really just want to commend you and thank you and everybody for creating these places where we can meet and also talk about these topics. It's tough, how do you find the language for it? And I just wanted to mention that because it was such a wonderful manifestation of what you're just sharing.
And it's impressive that the language is actually weaving. It's a way to understand each other, to support each other. And on every band, we write messages for peace, and we wish something to each other. If it's children, then I always ask them to write their dreams, because I think it's important to let them to express themselves also as well, and how much do we want them to understand war and conflicts. We just want them to dream and to be happy, right? And it's our responsibility to secure their future. So yeah, it's I remember that at that point I was in Glasgow representing other project, and I sent Ukrainian families to Rotary conference to have this workshop, and they managed very well. I'm always impressed how they open-minded, how they curious, and how they are professional. Like they don't have formal art education, but they have so much talent, and this project, it's so relevant. I would never even think about creating something to say thank you to the Swedish people. I mean, this is like this comes from the heart. We want to make our gratitude visible. We want Swedish people to appreciate that we are here, appreciate craft, and we want to do this together. And it's been this project been everywhere, and so many people contributed, and they even cried when they saw all the messages. It's like a song. It's like you can just stay for hours and read those stories and the people's hope.
Yeah, wow, it's so powerful. And I know we have many people in our community who are also heavily leaning into the tech side and the latest in tech. And we talk a lot about culture tech, creative tech. So you might be wondering now, but why are we talking about weaving and netting? And this is obviously very physical in the real world and has no digital elements at all. I'm just saying, stay tuned. It will make sense because we are about high tech and high touch in this community, and tech, that is a way to do things. And with Ludmila, I know that you are also very much at the forefront with tech and digitization. So I have a feeling we will cover that too. But I love how we are able to capture the essence of the art and what the art can do here and now, especially with this war going on. And for so many of us, when we're not able to find the words, or the language to communicate about this, or even meet. When I worked at a different organization, then we actually also opened up a residency in the music industry for music professionals. And it was just the stories that we were hearing were just so powerful. And they also shared, when they were touring in Ukraine during the war, and suddenly they were just having to flee down into a basement, and they even lost team members because of the war. And I think for us in Sweden and in other countries, that can sometimes be hard to grasp. And I think what you're doing when you are creating these spaces where people can come together and talk, it is so important, Ludmila. So again, just want to say thank you. So what is the feedback that you are getting from the people that you are working with and the people who are attending and maybe also, as you said, writing these messages?
I see that this project has united a lot of people, and it's been very important even for Swedish people, because we witnessed war for 2 years, and it's affected our lives economically and socially as well. We got a lot of worries, and we are not sure what's going on, what will happen tomorrow. So this project gave so much security, I would say. And about weaving, it's also should be understood as a metaphor, because we meet and we start weaving. We use recycled materials, and we create textile artworks as a legacy of this time when this war going on. But think also about those possibilities and the networking and everything. Of course, you need to have a curator who can weave this together and make it to grow and to resonate in media and also in different medias as well. So we were very happy, for instance, to join Oslo Freedom Forum last year. And we were there together with human rights activists. And just imagine, I was able to bring five Ukrainian refugees with me, the ones who never been artists, who came to Sweden and they didn't know what to expect. And then all of a sudden, just because they've been weaving for their families to save lives, I could bring them to other country and to explore their talents and give them also possibility to see another world. And symbolically, I could bring 3 mothers and 2 sons to this. So the net is one part of the performing arts, right? But then you have these people around, and it's those people deserve a lot of respect and support, and also recognition for their talents. And this year, I also returned to Oslo, but not for Oslo Freedom Forum, but for a virtual art park. Did you know that?
No, I did not. Tell me more.
It's interesting and very exciting topic, technological development of project, because how do you preserve cultural heritage? If it will be destroyed, do you preserve it within a virtual world as artificial reality or virtual reality? So how do you think for future generations? So this time we had Oslo textile artwork, and Oslo is woven on the camouflage net, and we presented this artwork within this connected art project with several parks. It's a very ambitious and amazing project, and we were very proud to participate with our textile work.
I love that. What I love about this conversation is that you're doing something very in the here and now to aid, to support, to draw attention to make a difference and a bigger impact, which I know many in our community, that's what they want to do. They want to create a bigger impact. They want to use their art in different ways to make a bigger difference. But as we said, very much in the physical realm, but at the same time, from a cultural heritage point of view, and I know there are many discussions in our industry at leadership level, how, and the war in Ukraine has really shown a light on the importance of that, with museums and with arts institutions and organizations. How do you protect and preserve your artwork? So what you're saying is that you are looking into the virtual reality aspects of it and finding different ways to preserve the work. And that's exciting to me. So how do you do that then? How would you go about such a project to preserve in the virtual realm? How did you go about it? How did you plan it? And what were your key takeaways, I guess, from that work?
I think it's a very broad topic and very complex and very exciting. It should definitely involve bigger organizations. But all the museums in Ukraine are under the attack, and how many of them will survive? So this is important to find ways and solutions to network and to weave together the contacts, right? What I have here, for instance, and what's contacts I got in Ukraine, what's need there is in Ukraine. And I hear this constantly from my team, consisting of women and children. They always speak about what they have in their homes, where they like to go, used to go. And so this is also a way for me to help, so I do listen. I always listen what people around me say, and I realize that we need more powerful tools today for this kind of preservation, and so it's technology, and I is what we need to explore.
Yeah, and maybe also I'm thinking of the different actors with the tech companies in this community. They're often saying, when I ask, what are your biggest challenges? We've got brilliant coders, brilliant founders of tech platforms. Nioki is one, which is super exciting. They are building this Web3 blockchain metaverse, matrix version of a decentralized platform, which I have a feeling would be brilliant partner to help preserve, but obviously they are not a government-funded initiative. So I'm thinking of preservation, that this is a call to action actually for this community. On the one hand, I think it's important to have bodies who are either state-funded or protected one way or the other, so they're like non-commercial. But on the other hand, this could probably open up business opportunities as well for more purpose-driven for-profit initiatives who might actually want to collaborate with people like yourself to actually not only bring your artwork into their world, but to actually, as you said, preserve it and make something of it for the future. There's something there I'd love to explore more. What do you have any, from your perspective, reflections on the whole non-commercial and commercial, or what should be supported by the government, or even, at a higher level, policy level, or, a private initiatives from what you have seen so far in your work? Could it be either or both?
I think any initiative is, it's a good initiative. But of course, with governmental support, you have more stability, right, to make it long-term project and bring different actors into this ecosystem, right, of preserving, of making something impactful for the future generation. So I do believe in these structures, like, for instance, UNESCO, right? So if they had certain initiative to preserve cultural heritage, so of course this should be the umbrella thing, and then different countries can contribute with their part, and invite professional actors to make things happen, to make it to a library, right, to something that people can benefit in the future.
Yeah, let's explore that further here. And for our listeners or viewers today, again, hello, and thank you so much for joining us. We are so excited about these talks because it helps us keep our, the ear to the ground and also look into the future, and together as a collective figure things out together. And this is just one of many wonderful conversations that we're having here today. But Ludmila, I'm curious to know more about you. So would you mind telling us a little bit about your background? What has led to you being here today?
Well, that's, I think it's, I say very often yes to many opportunities because I'm a very curious person and I always do things. Sometimes I'm very afraid to go out from my home because I know as soon as I go out, it's the day will be more busy and it was planned. And this is the way I work. I can also travel to different places and have like very strict agenda. Like, okay, it's not work, it's a vacation, but then I go and I see museum and I go inside and guess whom I meet there? Like it's curators or a museum chef, and they're like, "Who are you?" They ask me, and I'm like, "Ah, well, I'm not tourist. I'm an artist and I'm curator." And they're like, "Oh, you come to visit our museum. We want to show you. We want to give you free entrance, and we want to show you it around." I don't know how it's happened. So this is the way why I'm here. You invited me, you followed me. Amazing. Let's talk. Let's talk more. Let's explore where we meet again, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, you are a master networker, that I can tell. Your roster and the black book that you have, whenever I go to events where you are, I always meet the most fascinating people from all sorts of industries. So again, for people listening, take a note of how Ludmila does it, because you said it just sort of happens, but you do have a knack, a gift for networking and for shining a light on things. Branding is a huge part of what you do. And many creators, they struggle with the branding part. They struggle to be seen. They struggle with the visibility part. But it seems to me as if that comes rather natural to you. Would you agree?
I think I learned this. It was a long process, and it was always about learning. And I was studying a lot, or in Sweden, for instance, when I moved here. So to study, to understand this culture, it was a very important part for me to integrate and to become this kind of professional. And now, of course, today it's very easy for me to send out mails and get the answer, yes, we want your project. But it was too many no before, and it wasn't easy, and it wasn't always inspiring. It was always challenging, and it was always hard work. I remember I was a couple of years ago in New York for artist in residency. One morning I woke up and I just didn't want to go out. I didn't understand what to do, and what I did then, I just, okay, Ludmila, you stand up now. You go out to the coffee place, and you take your cup of coffee. And yes, and I did it, and I went out, and this was a coffee place, beautiful, and guess who was standing in front of me? It was some journalist making movie about Belarusian oppositional movement, and I was like, yeah, it's me. It's like, it's learning by doing, and it's always doing. It's always like moving forward.
So for you as a business owner, since we are, after all about arts entrepreneurship education and strengthening, creators who are also professionally working in this field, do you feel that, because as you said, you've had to learn certain things, how did you decide what to focus on, and how did you learn those things? Does that question make sense to you?
It makes sense, but I think it's been a more like sincere approach. We as artists, we always start with paintings, and we do sculptures, and we do installations. And then we realize that it's never enough, and we start to explore collaborations. And then all of a sudden, pandemics came. And what do you do? Do you continue painting? Why would you do this as an artist if you maybe can introduce collective art production and bring people closer after the pandemic? And then with the war, you get challenged even more. As an artist, you have, and as a business runner, you have to see this, like, go through those challenges and see possibilities, turn them into possibilities. So this is what I do. I see my art as business. I always question, okay, people don't want art, they want wine. Okay, we launch wine tasting with taste of artistic methods, bestseller. Okay, we call Stockholm Star, and we're like, okay, do you want this? Yes, we want, but we don't serve wine. Okay, Swedish fika. And this is how you roll on. And then all of a sudden it's war in Ukraine. Would you serve Swedish fika or wine? Yeah, maybe, but maybe you start weaving, right? And this is would lead you to the next step. And if you know, last year I won Impact of the Year, and I won education at IHM Business School, business executive degree. And this was something I always thought that I was missing in my career. So as soon as I got this possibility, of course, I would say yes. And I would invest my time in this opportunity and continue building my career and get more equipped for next. We don't know what's going on, what's happening next, but it definitely a way to master any situations.
Yeah, I remember I saw, as you said, when you also studied the business part, and as with arts and business, I hear a lot that you cannot mix the two. You're not supposed to make money in the arts, or even when you start to talk in more business-like terms, a lot of people shy away, and even the industry sometimes can be a little bit reluctant to talk about that too much because they worry about, the government's, the support that is non-commercial that will go down. So we actually talk about that a lot here, even during these talks. How you balance the business side with a non-commercial side, and how important it is to have both. So I find it fascinating that you are able to be so heart-centered with your artistic work, but also very savvy when it comes to business and branding, and that seems to be a good combination from what I can tell. So can you tell us a little bit about Art and Foundation and Art and Gallery for those that might not know what those are? What do you do with them? And what are some projects that you're working on right now?
Art and Foundation is a way to support Ukrainian refugees and focus on work with them. So it's separate from my art, my work. I think it's very important to let people understand that this is kind of goodwill from me, that I do invest my time and even my money into supporting Ukrainian refugees and help them to explore their talents. I also, within this initiative, we have Women of Arten. It's a female art collective and anyone can join. It's sort of artists in residency. So we do weave for peace, but we are open for other ideas. So anyone can join and anyone can contribute their ideas, and together we decide how we launch this idea, what kind of resonance we want, just to be helpful and critical in sort of branding or making this idea develop in something meaningful, I guess, and powerful. And Art and Gallery is my gallery is my studio. And it's open for everyone. Everyone can join and book team building workshops, paint on big canvas, which is very, very exciting technique or method for people to explore their creativity, to get liberated through colors. And to even create first artworks, first abstract and beautiful artworks. So it's always a lot of fun to see how people are talented and also supportive within this challenging moment. Tomorrow, for instance, we are going to meet in Humlegården in the park. They have very beautiful surrounding, and we will explore a transformative workshop with dry technique, where we will be using threads and we will peel newspapers from big joint canvas. We welcome everyone, and it's a little bit sort of well-being method when people will be silenced, people will be doing something meditatively, and then we will discuss the result. Everything will happen in the nature with no sound, and I think we all need these moments to meet ourselves and then to meet new friends, create something together, and just change something in our lives towards more positivity and once again hope and also changes. So this is exciting possibility to learn more, not only about art, but about yourself.
Yeah, and as a gallery, with also the technical revolution that we're seeing, have you thought about also adding a digital and virtual layer, NFTs, and even cryptocurrencies? Have you thought about that, or even a virtual gallery of some sort?
No, not NFT. I think it's passé, right? But I definitely consider, for instance, presenting virtual exhibition, Pride exhibition for the Pride Festival in the gallery. This would be an interesting way to move on, right? And it's both exciting for me and also, I guess, for cities visitors who would travel to Stockholm, and they will participate and join the manifestation, the beautiful parade. And then it's very important to have several meeting points for them where they can explore arts and creativity.
So based on your work and what you are doing, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges that you are facing as an artist, as a curator, as an entrepreneur in this space?
I think that I would say we, Swedish artists, based in Sweden, we want more support. We want more connections, and maybe not from the government, but from the companies. So we want corporate social responsibility to pay attention to the artists and how we can collaborate and enhance our message. Because Swedish artists, many of them, they don't have atelier, they paint in the kitchen, they don't have full artistic focus. They have to work in the pharmacy or somewhere else. So this is not 100% professional art job, right? And I think in this regards, we could definitely benefit from each other, because there are so many challenges like climate changes, war, and if we just could join these forces or be seen as forces, this could be a very amazing outcome. I believe in it.
Yeah, and where do you see your industry heading? Because you're also into fashion, and fashion is one of the industries that we see is undergoing huge transformation in the digital realm. And we're talking about sort of the intersection of arts and creativity and the tech side and future trends, but also other things as with the war and financial worries that people might have. There are so many different layers going on parallel. But when have they not, on the other hand? It's been like that, I think, for as long as humans have been on this earth. It's just that we go through different phases and stages, right? What are some trends or some predictions that you are having or seeing in your field?
I would love to focus on climate and collaborate with climate activist organizations, and where I also see possibilities for art. So this is why I tackle this issue, because this is my new idea, and this is where I want to realize myself and create another strong project, right? I definitely will continue work with weaving, but it's needed to be redesigned at some point. It needs more, or just another topic, maybe not yellow and blue, all the Sweden weaving, but what will be the next message to the world? And I definitely want to continue working with Women of Art and Female Art Collective, where we will include fashion, cooking, also within these transformative art and sessions and many other angles. This is also a huge and important project because I have responsibility for these amazing women from Ukraine and children, right, who already invested their talents, and we have created so many textile artworks. Soon it will time to exhibit them. And let's see if I will manage to exhibit these works in some museums. This is a goal, as always, but it's also responsibility as a curator. This is something been created, and it's important to showcase. So it's a lot of, like, I always challenge myself. I always think that, yeah, I had 2 times exhibition in the Army Museum, but why I would exhibit there one more time, right? If I can exhibit in the another museum. And of course we get spoiled because after exhibiting at Oslo Freedom Forum and big fairs and folk and Kunst Convent, all this with more than 3,000 people and more than 15,000 people at some events, having this kind of presentation with this audience, would you exhibit in the museum next? This is the issue, right? Or will you choose some kind of, like, maybe New York and maybe Central Park? This is where I want to live next. This is to have my many people will see it. So this is very interesting question for me. Like, what do I want?
Exactly. What do you want? We have people asking me, Sophie, how can I get into a museum? How can I get people to commission my work? And I want to dive more into what you want and your future plans, and maybe even how we can support with that, even though I have a feeling you'll get there anyway, but we'll do what we can to support. But for people who have questions and just say, do you have any advice? I too have artwork that I want to be featured, at a gallery, let's say, or a museum. Do you have any advice for our fellow creators?
Yeah, I always get the same question. How did I get into Army Museum or Livrustkammaren or Nordiska Museum? Honestly, I sent mail and then I called.
You sent mail and you called?
Yeah, and I said, yeah, I think we should meet. And at the personal meeting, it takes me 2 minutes to pitch my idea. So you have to be prepared. You have to believe in. You just imagine your artwork in this museum, okay, and just adjust it for these museums. What this museum shows, how many people will be engaging with your work. So just make this your concept inclusive and actual, like engaging. And of course, museums will say yes.
So just an email and then you meet, an email and a phone call and then you meet, and takes you 2 minutes and then they say yes. Yeah. That's about right. That sounds about right. Okay, so any advice then for the pitch in when you run accelerator programs in the entrepreneurial world? They are being taught often, the members of the accelerator, to a 1-minute pitch or a 3-minute pitch. Any advice regarding the pitch in addition to what you just mentioned? What to do or what not to do in a pitch, perhaps? See, I'm asking you because you're very good at this. I want to know.
I will tell you how once I came with a small travel bag to the meeting, right? And I was telling about the net project. And then I opened the bag and I took out the net. And the guys at the ones for whom I was pitching my ideas, they said, we never saw someone with a net. We always see people with a laptop and with a bunch of papers. So this was it. And of course, they remember me. And I remember that at that time, the net was this net, and it was just couple bands woven in it. And today it's thousands of bands. I think it's like more than, I don't know how many people contributed, maybe more than 10,000 people, but also a lot of people been taking pictures and seeing our work. So I think you have to be just yourself and present your work the way you want to take your work with you, and just, this is what I do and this is what I believe in. And it will help.
Yeah, I think it's so good to hear from you what you do and for you to share. Thank you for sharing so generously, because this is something most creators struggle with, to get someone to answer that email or to pick up that phone first and foremost. What I hear 99% of them say that they never get people to respond to them. They don't know if they should email again, should they call again. They don't want to be a burden to the other person, but at the same time, they want to make sure that they've received the information. So this is a huge stressor for them. So, but I would also imagine that your projects are very timely in time, since what you're doing has a relevancy to what's going on here and now. Could that be helpful, in addition to obviously who you are and your background, but to get them to answer?
This is correct. And I think also very often I will do something without thinking about money. And I will also engage people to contribute to and develop my idea. And this is when the success comes, when we do it together, and it's a teamwork, and it's movement, right? And everybody inspire each other and grow together and help each other. And this kind of ecosystem, it's very powerful. It's a very good way to go forward. And I think that's why I also got this kind of doors opening effect on the way, because I'm just I'm not an artist anymore, right? I have artists behind me, and those artists are people, just ordinary people who wants peace, who build peace, who want to do something for their families. And I think it's this is what makes the my project so interesting and so appreciated.
Yeah, so I hear something important here. What you're saying, you're not just the artist, even though it's not just an artist, and is a huge thing, of course. But what you're saying, you're actually a leader and a representative, whereas other people are coming together as part of a movement. So when you actually email or pick up that phone or actually meet someone for pitch, you have an entire group of not only people, but like, as you said, a community with you of change makers that want to make a difference. So that to me is interesting. And I think we should dive more into that also going forward, because what you're just saying, so basically we're talking a lot about strategy and, the overall, movements, what's happening right now in the world. But these are actually very tactical, hands-on, I wouldn't say power moves, but in a way they are, but power in the good sense of, what do you do when you want to create positive change? Well, you group together with other people who want the same thing. That's what we're doing here. That's what you are doing there. And that to me is interesting. So maybe it can also help then for our creators in this community, when you are pitching and when you are going out, see if you can learn from Ludmila and maybe be inspired to see how you can partner up with other people and strengthen your bid, if that makes sense. But I figure also, if does that then translates to media when you either pitch media or media are becoming interested in your projects? Do you notice a difference there when you moved from being an artist into more of the curator, leader, entrepreneur that you are? Or
what do you mean? Do you mean?
I mean, when it comes to press releases, making sure that media features you. Because I know even before today, we talked about media and that the time it has come to also spread them more information about this. And in 3 seconds, you whipped up a wonderful press release, and it was just came so natural to you. And I'm wondering, with what you just said about the galleries and the museums, when you pitch them and you say you have the power of the community, for you, when you pitch a journalist, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. When you pitch a journalist or when you reach out to a media outlet, how do you get them to answer you and to say yes to feature you? That's my question.
I think it's important just to be loud with what you are doing, right? And what you believe in. What's your project? And you do it and you launch it. And you have information published everywhere. This is how you get people to learn what you are doing, what your focus is, and people want to know more, but not other way around. It's not like, of course, it's good to send press releases, but it's not 100% you get interview. It's not easy, right? But to be active, announce what's happening, and try to invite people. It's a simple act towards resonating in both audience and also media. But it's a challenge. You have to also think about what kind of debate is it. So it's a lot of questions still learning.
And do you use the same techniques, emailing and phoning, or do you have any?
Not only emailing, and I believe that even if people don't come, they learn. And first times they don't come, next time they don't come, and third time they're like, okay, I'm tired of this someone, and it sounds interesting. Yeah, let's talk. And because people are also busy, right? Media people have a lot of things going on, so they are selective. So you have to just wait for the right moment and communicate. What's your work?
Yeah, that sounds brilliant. So looking into the future, as we're sort of drawing to the close of this talk today, I would love to hear more about what's next for you. Where do you see yourself, and what does the role of tech and digitization play, if anything at all, when you look into the future, the next 5-10 years for yourself? What would you love to see? And how are you thinking about tech and digitization in that aspect?
Let's dream big and
go big.
What about creating virtual museum with heritage, with cultural heritage from countries that are under the attack? I think this will be a good contribution to the future. And why using technologies? Because it gives a lot of freedom and a bigger impact than physical exhibitions, physical preserved articles, how do you say? So I think definitely the next step will be to meet in the virtual reality.
That's interesting. I look forward to that. There is a huge demand. And you mentioned, wanting to go to New York, or are there other places that you would like to see your work at?
Yeah, I have some plans for this year and for the next year. And of course, New York is included. I have interesting colleagues, both in New York and other parts of the world. So it's interesting, or it's important to collaborate with them. In 2023, I had exhibition in Livestream, and so I could invite several international artists to participate in my project, and it was very spontaneous. And it wasn't so much of the budget. This kind of support I got and I gave, right? It's got developed in this kind of new ideas, and we'll to continue working together to support each other across borders and restriction, and to make positive societal changes together. So, and yes, it goes up and down, and people sometimes disappear for a couple months, and then appear, and then it means, okay, we are ready for a new project, for a new achievement, and for new possibilities.
I see. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you would like to talk about, or a question I've forgotten to ask that you would like to answer? This is your chance.
Yeah.
We've got a wide community worldwide at all levels across the entire cultural and creative industries, and in tech and entrepreneurship.
I'm glad to represent also Belarusian female artists, and I'm proud to have been designing, giving them possibility to design a book about outstanding women in Belarusian history. For me as Belarusian, it's very important to preserve my national identity. And we are going to launch a project, but we are also launching a tree for democracy, which is an apple tree. It's a symbol of patience we need to wait until we will be allowed to publish the book. And I think it's so symbolic. Let the tree grow, and let's wait and hope and witness this beauty, and maybe soon we will be able to publish this book. And it's amazing to have so many international contributors to this important idea.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. You have to tell us when you're about to launch. I do need to ask you also one thing I just would love your take on, and that is, in addition to what we've talked about, again, the intersection between arts and tech and digitization and future trends, are there any predictions that you have regarding the future? It doesn't have to be about the tech and innovation, but just what are some big trends that you are seeing, that you are picking up on, that we need to be aware of from your perspective?
We definitely will be more powerful with help of AI. And we have to be open for these new possibilities and explore them now, because it's happening now, right? And it's just exciting what's awaiting us in the future. It's this technological part is very exciting.
So AI, and you also mentioned that you had a big interest in, and you have a passion for climate and to make a difference there. And we know that there are a lot of regulations that are coming now to ensure that everything can be sort of signed off and that it is eco-friendly. From your perspective as an artist, and as with your big artworks and using also textile, is this something that you are? How are you approaching this, or how are you building this into your business model when it comes to being climate friendly? And the reason why I'm asking is because many who work more with physical products, they have to look into the climate, the carbon footprint, and they have to understand how you can ship things, how you can create. And when you are using labor in different countries, that they have also, you need to make sure that they actually follow the rules and regulations to make sure it is climate friendly. And so what are your thoughts on that finally?
I always design my project climate friendly, and we work with recycled materials. And before I bring huge exhibitions, I always think what's the impact, right? And that's why sometimes I take small travel bag with me, and I try to find the material and also people like collaborators to create bigger exhibitions at the spot. So this sustainability is it's always been with me and in my brand.
Yeah. So final question. Do you have anyone that you would recommend to come on as a guest? I always love to ask that because, you never know who people will recommend to come on to the show.
Yeah, I recently met Mikaela Berglund from Fenway-West, and I would definitely recommend you to meet her because she is very creative and very open-minded in her business.
Excellent.
Very exciting. Yeah.
That sounds fantastic. Thank you so much for that. And where can people find out more about you and your work if they want to connect with you, collaborate with you?
We will be very happy to connect and collaborate. All the information available on my website, arten.se and christeseva.com. And very welcome to contact, and we can discuss and coach and create something together.
That sounds fantastic. Well, thank you. As always, these hours just fly by, and it's been wonderful to spend some time with you today to just listen into what you're up to right now, what you're planning for the future. We've heard some news here as well, which I'm really excited about. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah, don't tell anyone, right? And this conversation will continue. As I mentioned at the very beginning, these talks is to really just a way for us to come together as a community, to figure things out together. That's why it's so great to have people who are at the forefront of what's going on in the world of creativity and entrepreneurship and impact. I'd say people, leading creators who are actually wanting to make a change through their art and creativity. So we are just setting up a platform on Circle. We've chosen Circle as our platform, Arts Dynamics on Circle. So I will show you that this is the new platform. So if you feel like this was a great conversation, I want to talk more and I want to learn more about Ludmila, I want to hear more about her work, I want to figure out, the things that we've talked about, how I can apply it in my own business, join us on this platform because we will continue to have these conversations. And as we're recording this video today, or this live today, this is really early stage. So you will be the early adopters joining us on the platform. People have started to onboard, and the idea is to just have a meeting place between these talks, between the meetups that we organize in different cities. We've been in Stockholm, Gothenburg. We have our second meetup coming up now in Athens, Greece, on the 27th of June. So if you are based in Greece or planning on going there in June, do visit our meetup on the 27th. We've also got meetups planned in Berlin and in London and more cities to come. And this is the place which I'm just showing you where you get to know more about that, and where we will also gather information about our wonderful speakers, Ludmila including, of course. So please join us there. And with that, I think it's time to say thank you again so much for listening. I appreciate that so much. Please help us spread the word, click a like, share a comment. And we are just so grateful for all of you who are part of this community, because remember, no one can figure it out together by themselves, but together we can move mountains. And I think this conversation today has really shone a light on the fact that when you come together as a movement, magical things can happen. So Ludmila, thank you so much for today. Thank you, everybody, and see you again next week. Bye-bye.